Watch me transform this beauty from start to finish. Hi guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a step-by-step makeup tutorial. If this is what you'd like to see, keep on watching. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I used my wipes to clean the face. This would help to remove dirt and oil. Then I went ahead to hydrate her skin with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. So after hydrating, the next thing I did was to dry it. Make sure it dries up before the next product. So next I moisturized her face with my Cetaphil moisturizer. So after moisturizing, the next thing you want to do, you want to let it dry into the skin before you prime the face. So for primer, I'm going to be using my Jet to Dove mattifying primer on the oily areas on her face. So next I'm going to be using my Newborn Beauty liquid highlighter and apply it on her face. This would help me achieve a glowy base. So my fellow makeup lovers, have you ever done makeup in a very hot environment? Let me know in the comment section, because the day I did this makeup, the weather was extremely hot. There was no light to make use of my AC, so I had to make use of my gen. Even with the fan, the weather was hot. I didn't know what to do. So I'm done with the liquid highlighter. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be covering those spots on her face with my concealer. You can also use your orange corrector to cover the spots, but I decided to use my concealer today to cover the spots on her face. So next I'm going to be mixing these two shades of foundation. This is Avour foundation in the shade 05 and Glamsgal foundation in the shade 25. So I'm using my flat brush to apply it all over her face. Then I went ahead to spread the face for easy blending. After that, I used my damp beauty sponge to blend the foundation all over her face. So next I'm going to be contouring her face with my Flawless Ivy concealer. I'm going to be leaving the shade in my description box. So for cream blush, I'm going to be mixing these two shades of color from my Blossom Lip palette and apply it above her contour and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend. So next I'm going to be highlighting her face with this Zikel concealer in the shade Creamy Ivory. Then I placed it on the areas I want the highlight to pop. So next I used my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So when you want to highlight your face, it's best to use concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin to highlight your face. But sometimes I make use of concealer that is 1 shade, but it's best you use concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin so that the highlight would pop. So next I use the same concealer I used to contour her face to contour her nose. So next I'm going to be using my Sasha Buttercup setting powder to set the concealer on the highlighted area. Before setting, I went back with my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath her eyes to avoid creasing. So to set, I'm going to be using my puff. Like I always say, when you want to set, be light-handed. Don't pack too much setting powder so that you don't have patches. So at this point, I wasn't feeling this puff. I had to change to my beauty sponge. So I used my beauty sponge to set the other areas. So if you have a client, model, or yourself and you want to set the areas underneath your eyes, it's best you look upwards. This will help you blend properly and set properly. If not, you have patches. So take it one step at a time. Like I always say, be gentle while setting and do not pack setting powder. So make sure you set properly, be gentle while setting, and make sure you set everything. So to set the rest of her face, I'm going to be using my Milani compact powder in the shade Light to set the rest of her face. So now that everything is well blended, I'm going to be setting the cream contour. So I'm going to be using this Adventure Oil Control Powder palette. So this shade is 2 shades darker than her skin. So I'm just using it to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So I'm going to be using the same shades to contour her nose. So next I went back using my powder brush to blend everything together. So next I'm going to be spraying the face with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. This would help to reduce the brightness on the face. Then next I'm going to be drying it with my fan. So after spraying, make sure it dries up before you bake. So after drying the face, I'm going to be baking with my Mirac setting powder in the shade Ginger. But baking, trust me, baking isn't compulsory. You can skip baking and continue with the other processes. But I like to bake because it enhances the face. Yes, it makes the face to really come out. So that's why I like to bake. But if you don't have time, you can skip the baking and move on to the next process. So one of the reasons why I like to apply setting powder on the areas underneath the eyes is because it helps to protect fallout from the eyes. And yes, if you are not careful, if you apply eyeshadow, it will fall on the face. So for reverse contour, I'm going to be using my Sasha Buttercup setting powder. This process right here helps to lift the face, so it's important you do it. So I went back with that brush I used to contour the face. I went back using the brush to touch the areas I contoured because I want everything to be well pronounced. So moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead to apply brow balm on her brows. This would help to lay the hair nicely. So to outline the brows, I'm going to be using my carrot gel liner and my angled brush to draw the outline following the shape of her brows. So next I'm going to be using the same concealer I used to highlight her face to highlight her brows. So after highlighting, I used my blending brush to blend it. So after blending, I did the other brows following the same process. So to highlight the top of her brows, I'm going to be using the same foundation I used on her face to highlight the top of her brows. It's best to use foundation to highlight the top of the brows. It would help the brows to look neat and well defined. But if you choose to use concealer that you used underneath the brows to highlight the top of the brows, you might not like the outcome, especially if you don't know how to blend properly. So it's best and advisable you use the foundation shade I used on her face to highlight the top of the brows. Sometimes I skip highlighting the top of the brows, especially if the brows are well defined. So that's how I work. So after that, I'm going to be priming her lid. I'm going to be using my Tara eyeshadow primer to prime the lid. So moving on to eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this Uptown Girls Focallure eyeshadow palette. So I'm going to be using this light pink for her transition. The importance of eyeshadow primer before eyeshadow is because it helps the eyeshadow to pop and makes it last longer. You can also make use of your concealer for your eyeshadow base. Then I applied some setting powder underneath her eyes to avoid fallout because the one I applied before has cleaned. So I went ahead with this color. I'm just gonna apply this color on the first one I did, then blended everything together. So next I'm going to be adding this darker shade. I'm just gonna apply it on the outer corner of her lid, then blending it towards the inner corner of her lid. Then next I used a clean eyeshadow blending brush to blend everything to avoid harsh lines. So next I'm going to be applying some setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to further define the lid. Then I went back using my brush to blend again. So next I'm going to be adding this fair definer contour palette. I'm just going to take this dark shade here and apply it on her lid. Then I went ahead using this clean eyeshadow blending brush to blend to avoid harsh lines. So next I'm going to be using this shade from my Blossom eyeshadow palette and apply it on the inner corner of her lid. So next I'm going to be adding this golden pigment on her lids just to give it more color. Then I went ahead using my brush to blend. So next I'm going to be lining her upper and lower lash line with my Carrot gel liner.
Such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain. I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.
So next I'm going to be using my Zaron mascara to prep her natural lashes and also give it volume. after that, I went ahead to wear her this lashes from African Beauty Lashes. So for powdery blush, I'm going to be using this peach shade from this palette. I'm just gonna apply it on her cheeks. So after that, I use this Focallure eyeshadow palette. I'll just take this shade here and apply it on the areas underneath her lower lash line. Then I went ahead using my powder brush to blend everything together. So I went back using the eyeshadow blending brush to blend her brow bone area. Moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using my Blows on Lip palette. So I'm just taking this shade here to outline her lip. Then I went ahead to add this pink and peach color together in the middle just to brighten up the lip. Then next I used my blending brush to blend. So next I added this pink gloss in the middle. So I went back using my brow tan to lay the brows nicely. I know I did it in the beginning when I was drawing the brows, but after the whole processes, everything has affected the brows. So I went back using it to touch the brows again. So I went back using my brush to dust out the excess powder on her face. So I went back to snatch her nose again so that it would be well pronounced. So after that, I went back with my powder brush to blend everything together. So next, I used my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray to set the face. So after setting the face, allow the face to dry properly before the next process. So after the face is dry, the next thing I did was to apply my highlighter. So next I'm going to be using my maivels Glow Dust highlighter to highlight her face. I'm just going to apply it on the areas I want the highlights to pop. So lastly, I'm going to be setting it again with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. So this is the last setting I'm doing. After setting, you have to let the face dry. One thing about makeup is once you're done doing makeup, everything will look so loud, but give it some time, it will blend into the skin. So after drying, I had to seal it with my So Pro Seal It spray. This would help the makeup to last longer, and this is the final look. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you so much guys for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.